When you look at a giant company like Shopify, it's easy to just think, wow, how on earth did they do that? It feels like this totally unique one in a billion story. But what if it's not? What if their incredible journey wasn't about luck, but about following a blueprint anyone could use?
Because that right there is the real question. Shopify didn't start with some grand vision to take over e-commerce. Nope. It all started with something way smaller, way more personal. It started with a guy who just wanted to sell some snowboards online. That's it. And that's exactly what we're going to dig into. We're going to peel back the layers on this story and uncover the step-by-step framework that took a simple personal project and turned it into a global powerhouse. And the best part? It's a framework you can actually apply to your own ideas. All right, so here's how we'll break it down. We'll start with the blueprint itself. Then we're going to walk right through Shopify's journey phase by phase. We'll see their accidental validation, the huge pivot they made, how they forged the actual platform, and then how they built an incredible moat around their business. And then we'll talk about how this blueprint is all yours.
So before we get into the whole story about snowboards and software, let's just quickly look at the framework itself. Because pretty much any successful idea, I don't care if it's a tech company or a food truck, follows this same four-phase path. Okay, so here they are, the four big phases. First up, you've got validation. This is just, can you prove someone, anyone, will actually pay for this thing? Then comes foundation. This is where you figure out what the real business idea actually is. After that, it's time for building, making the actual product. And finally, growth. How do you scale up and protect what you've built? So let's see how this all played out for Shopify.
All right, let's jump into phase one. Now for Shopify, this didn't start in some fancy boardroom with a bunch of charts. It started on a snowy mountain with a genuine passion for snowboarding. So you've got this guy, Toby Luthke. He's a programmer, for sure, but his big idea had nothing to do with software. He just wanted to open an online shop called Snow Devil and sell some really cool, high-end snowboards. That was the dream. But he immediately ran smack into a giant wall. I mean, just imagine the terrible choices he had back in 2004. On one side, you had these just awful, clunky enterprise tools. They were these unusable monstrosities. On the other side, you could build it all from scratch, which was an absolute technical nightmare. So your choice was basically ugly and clunky or impossibly complex. Not great. So Toby gets super frustrated, right? And he decides, you know what? I'll just build my own thing. And by doing that, he accidentally built his very first minimum viable product, or MVP. All an MVP is really is the simplest, most basic version of your idea that you can use to see if people actually want it. And this is the part you really gotta get. His MVP wasn't some huge, scalable platform for everybody. It was just one store, for one person, solving one problem. He built it, it looks great, it worked, and it actually made sales. That was the validation. So the store's working, right? It's a success. But the validation for the real business, the one that would become worth billions, well, that came from a place he never expected, and this is where the big pivot happens. It was almost immediate. As soon as Snow Devil was live, other entrepreneurs and designers started emailing him. But they weren't asking about his snowboards. They were all asking the exact same question, about the website itself. I mean, that was the aha moment. That was the lightning strike. The team suddenly realized, wait a minute, the snowboard store isn't the business. It's just a demo. The real product, the valuable thing, was the software running the whole show. And that one insight, that became the foundation for everything. Okay, on to phase 3. And look, having an idea is one thing, but turning a custom-built tool for just one little store into a powerful platform that anyone in the world can use, well, that is where the really hard work started. And yeah, this was not an overnight thing. They spent 2 full years rewriting and rebuilding all the code from the ground up, turning it from a single-use tool into a multi-tenant platform, basically something that could run thousands of different stores all at once. Then, in 2006, they officially launched as Shopify. All right, the final phase, growth. Shopify was already a great tool, but this is where they made a series of moves that would make them completely dominant. And they did it by solving their own growth problems in a way that helped everyone else too. So as you can imagine, as they got more popular, they hit this huge wall. Every single person signing up wanted a beautiful, custom-looking store. But Toby and his tiny team were the only ones who could do the designs. They were the bottleneck, and they just couldn't keep up. Their solution to this was just pure genius. They invented their own special coding language and called it Liquid. Now think about this. It was simple enough for any web designer to pick up quickly, but it was also totally sandboxed. That means a designer could make the store look incredible without any possible way of accidentally breaking the important stuff underneath, like the shopping cart or the checkout. It was absolutely brilliant. And because they invented Liquid, bam, they could launch the Shopify theme store. All of a sudden, they had an army of designers creating amazing themes for them. Merchants got instant access to gorgeous designs with one click, and Shopify solved their bottleneck forever. But you know how it is. You solve one problem, and another one pops right up. Now, merchants needed all this other stuff. Special email tools, complex shipping calculators, wish list features. There was no way their small team could possibly build everything for everyone. So, taking a page from what Apple was doing with the iPhone, they launched an API and the Shopify App Store. And this, well, this was the masterstroke. It was like they threw a massive party and invited thousands of other developers to come build cool stuff on their platform. This single move turned Shopify from just a tool into a sprawling ecosystem. It built a moat around their business that is almost impossible for competitors to cross, even today. So when you really step back and look at it, Shopify's meteoric rise isn't some crazy, magical story. It's a clear, logical playbook. It's a journey that moved step by step through each of these phases. And the lessons here are for everybody. Phase 1, just start by scratching your own itch. Find your snow devil. Phase 2, listen, really listen to what people are telling you, because the real business might be hiding in plain sight. Phase 3, do the hard work to turn your little solution into something anyone can use. And Phase 4, don't just build a tool, build an entire ecosystem. You see, the path from a simple idea to something huge isn't about having it all figured out on day one. It's about starting with one small, real, solvable problem. So the only question left for you is, what's your snowboard store? What's the snow devil that you can start building today?